There's an article today in the Times by jointly written by the job sharing by the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt and the Work and Pensions Secretary Mel Stride. Says basically jobs are there if the unemployed want them. They say there's ample opportunity to find a job. They're saying the economy is booming. Well, it's not booming. But, you know, we're out of recession, so that's one good thing. But we're looking at possibly, end of the month, we could be looking at inflation going down closer to 2%. And certainly we are looking at things improving on all of those fronts. That said, we have also got the issue of unemployment slowly creeping up. And an awful lot of those people who are not on the unemployment ranks are, well, actually claiming benefits of some kind. Many working age people on the sick as well. Let's talk about all of this with Julian Jessup, who's an independent economist. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Are there ample jobs if the unemployed want them?
Well, increasingly that is the case. I think one of the key themes coming out from the article this morning was that the economy has indeed turned the corner. So, as you say, inflation is set to fall sharply. I think interest rates will follow. You know, the economy is picking up, growth has returned. And we're also starting to see some quite big increases in wages as well. So, you know, the feel-good factor, I think, is starting to come back there as well.
But why is unemployment slowly creeping up at the same time? That seems quite bizarre.
Well, that's partly because unemployment sort of tells you what was happening sort of 6 months ago. It takes a while for developments of the economy to feed back into the labour market. And the labour market overall is cooling a bit because, after all, we saw that, you know, short-lived recession at the end of last year. Another important thing about the unemployment figures is that they also, fun enough, have a silver lining, is that, you know, if people say that they are looking for work but haven't yet found a job, they count as unemployed. Previously, they might not have counted in the figures at all. So there are some signs that people are willing to look for work and so are now counted as unemployed, whereas previously they weren't in the figures whatsoever.
But that's the interesting thing we're constantly told, as Benedict Spence was saying earlier, you know, we need to bring in people from abroad to do jobs, and yet we've got a load of people unemployed in this country, a lot of people who say they want to work but are claiming sickness benefits of some sort, so mental health problems or on hospital waiting lists and the like. We do have a kind of a mismatch, don't we, though? We need people to do jobs, and a lot of those jobs, by the way, are not highly skilled jobs. They're kind of just like not very well paid, quite dull jobs, which lots of people would largely like not to have to do. But you know what? If you're hungry enough, those are the jobs you do. That's a job sort of, you know, we would all end up doing when this all goes horribly wrong. But be proud to do it, because we'd be looking after ourselves and not being a burden on the taxpayer. There does seem to be a real issue now. There's so many people, and I don't think it started during lockdown and furlough. I think it started long before then. This idea that people are just entitled to just sort of not contribute. I've always thought, you know, you have to contribute. If you're able-bodied and able-minded, you should contribute. It's kind of your duty to contribute, because people who can't do that, you need to help pay for them. But we do seem to have an attitude, particularly among a lot of younger people now, there's sort of like, it's not my problem. If I can live a fairly decent life, either on benefits or just working a couple of days a week, I'll do it.
No, there's a lot to pick up on there. First of all, I'm glad you used the expression mismatch, because that's part of the problem here. There are a lot of unemployed people and also a lot of vacancies, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, one can easily fit into the other. So a lot of the jobs are, if you like, the wrong sort of jobs, jobs that are not suitable for the people who are unemployed, or they might actually be in the wrong part of the country. We've got a big problem of, you know, levelling up here. So, you know, lots of unemployed people in Blackpool, for example, can't easily fill the vacancies in the southeast of England.
Often they can't even fill a vacancy very nearby, because bus services are so poor, and if you haven't got a job, can't afford a car, you can't get to the jobs that do exist.
Exactly. And another issue is that, you know, low pay is making it relatively unattractive for some people to take jobs compared to the alternative of being on benefits. So you need a mix there of, if you like, carrots and sticks. You need the you know, the stick of making sure it's not easy to claim benefits, but also the carrot to make sure that work actually pays. And that means higher wages and lower tax, particularly on those who are on lower income.
It does mean higher wages and lower income. I do agree with that. And again, that comes from not having a whole load of cheap labour coming in from abroad competing for people who are born and bred here. But I also think, you know, you just shouldn't be entitled. Here's a job which you can do. Just because you don't like it, it's not very well paid, doesn't mean you're entitled not to take it, but to claim benefits from everyone else. You don't get to choose the perfect job. I've done every job I've chopped onions and garlic for, you know, days on end. I've stuffed envelopes, I've waitressed, I've done bar work, I've done a lot of very boring jobs. And you know what? You know, it's tough. You know, you have to do that rather than claiming benefits. I'm wondering whether people would like to get a job, though, working on Taylor Swift's new tour. Latest news, and we've seen this happen in other countries where she's done her big Eras tour. billion boost to the economy. In 3 weeks' time, she's going to start her first show in the UK, and she apparently brings a huge boost to the economy. Average spend of something like 450 quid. No, 850 quid by fans in terms of hotel, transport, food and drink, and buying the tickets. I mean, how can one woman have such a big impact on the economy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it is a good story. I think it will provide an important boost to key parts of the economy, particularly hospitality. Yeah. So it's not just that people buy the tickets; they also, stay in local hotels, they spend in local restaurants and bars and so on. And as you say, there is other evidence from other countries that this can have a measurable impact on the economy. So Taylor Swift had a tour in the US, had quite a big impact. Beyonce did a concert in May in Sweden last year and actually added 0.2% to inflation that month because people were spending so much extra in hotels and restaurants. So it has a measurable effect, and every little bit helps. A couple of caveats. 1 billion may sound like an enormous amount of money, but really it isn't. It's only 0.04% of national income.
Okay, so let's not get too excited.
Some of the money is just money that would be spent on Taylor Swift concerts rather than going and doing something else.
That's a very fair point. This is why he's an economist. We need more people who understand this stuff working in government. Julian Jessup, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.